Welcome everyone, this is Pilot Niels and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at lasers and LOTRO and hear LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Krister
Hello.
and Cinders.
Hello.
Hello everyone. Now, not much was happening in the world of LOTRO this week since it's just beginning of the year, but looks like next week is going to be a little busy. Because first off, we are going to have update 38.2, which is going to be releasing next week if all goes well. And it has a few things in there, such as they're making an update to the Ill Omens event so that the Rapper quest will require 10 quests instead of 12 as it did in the previous runs. I'm sure a lot of people will be happy about that. And they're also making a couple of tweaks to the Foresters event because it looked like there were one or two minor exploits in there. None of them were bad enough to make them shut down the event last time, but they decided that before the next Forester event starts, they wanted to get those couple of tweaks in there so it'll be all nice and ready for the next round. And there's also a little tweak to the Umbar missions that involve crabs. That is the infestation of crabs and what was it? I forget the name of the other one. The other crab. But there are two missions that involve crabs in there, and those crabs will now, going forward, will drop crab legs. Thank you.
And what will you be able to use these magical, whimsical crab legs for? What exactly?
They're part of cooking recipes.
Okay.
Yes. The crabs on the landscape have always dropped them, but now the ones in the missions will also, because that was one of the things I noticed in the missions is the crabs in there were not dropping crab legs. That was naughty of them.
Very.
Yes. And also, they're going to make some tweaks to the hostility of the mobs or something like this on Umbar so that mobs will no longer be super, super hostile towards low-level characters.
That would be nice.
Is this to encourage use of the crafting area?
I think it relates partly to the crafting area and partly to the missions area. Now, I'm hoping that maybe they could also do something to adjust the minimum level for the port to the Bloody Eagle Tavern, because that would be really, really nice if they did that. Well, we'll find out next week when I read the release notes for it. And also, there are going to be some new Capped Embers quests, because right now we still have the old Embers quests, the ones that were at level 140. They'll be removing the level 140 quests, or probably turning those into moats instead. And then at level 150, we'll have the Embers quests that are associated with that. So we'll see how they are. They're probably going to be pretty much the same in style as the 140 quests were. Now, those are just the highlights of what I know about what's coming up next week. We will go through the patch notes then to find out what is actually in the update. Also, we are expecting the first Bulwer build next week. And this will be for update 39. And in there, they're expecting to have the first round of testing for the upcoming instances. My guess is that they'll have one or two of the 3-player ones ready in order to be tested. And that maybe the 6-player one won't be quite ready. Because usually the first round of Bulwer for the instances doesn't include all of them. It usually includes just one or two of the 3-player ones. We'll find out next week then and that's of course assuming that at least one of them is ready. Because if none of them are ready, there won't be a Bulwer build. And that's pretty much it for the news in there. Now, We do have a couple of events that are upcoming. We do have the Ill Omens event that's starting next week on January 11th, assuming that the update goes up on January 11th as expected. And the Forester event is expecting to return on January 13th. So any questions on updates and upcoming events?
Nope.
No, just really kind of looking forward to getting the new raid out. I want the raid. I want to trade in the 2 3-mans for the 6-man.
Well, I suspect that the raid is going to be in probably 39.1 would be my guess.
Yeah.
It's okay. It gives us more time to get geared.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why it works the way it does, is because if they release the raid on the same day as the 6-player instance, who's going to be ready for the raid?
I will be. Even if I die 1,000,000 times and I'm completely unqualified, which is pretty much what it was for me last night.
Yeah. I think that's the definition of a ploy raid, isn't it? All right. Let's go to the store sales. Cinders, what's on sales this week?
On sale this week is LOTRO bonus days, bringing you 25% skirmish marks through the 7th of January. It is also store, carry, and share. So 25% off vault storage and shared storage inventory slots through January 11th. And the weekly coupon is for free enhanced XP supply using coupon code FREEXP, FREEXP, also through January 11th.
Right, nice. Then let's go into our week in gaming. Krister, what were you up to? I heard a rumor that there was something about a raid.
Oh yeah, I don't know what I blacked out last night, and then I woke up to hearing that we lowered our standards to such a degree that we accepted people we would never have in our raids.
You
luckily
mean,
for you guys,
like a certain mariner, you mean?
Well, it was mainly our own kin members, which is our. No, last night we didn't quite scrape a whole raid together, but we did scrape enough a raid together to try. I can't remember I was trying to remember
Guathenrost. Guathrenost.
I guess I never tried to pronounce that name before. So. Yeah, so we endeavored there with 9 people ultimately, but we had a really good night. That was the first night that Cinders has come out with ploy in quite a while. I think in raid. I don't know if you've ever been on a raid with us, but
I have, but not since Mordor.
Okay.
I did a few in Mordor.
So that was not only a lot of fun. What was interesting about it too was we had. This is why I'm getting kind of excited about maybe the rating. Rating is going to be coming back here. Is that we had one of our really old kinmates who's been gone a really long time reappearing lately, and so he joined us. That was what was he playing last night? He was playing as hunter, but he usually plays either a runekeeper or a healer, and he was one of our main raid healers. And so just having him come back, it was really funny because Ost is a long-standing member of our kid, and I didn't even think about it, but Ost was like, I don't think we've met. And I was like, oh my goodness, yeah, I guess it has been a while since. And his name is Cinderbeard Cinders, so we refer to him as Cinders as well. So now we got 2 Fins and 2 Cinders.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think last night we almost finished that raid. We were short 3 people, but we were also running at a 140. It was tough at times. We definitely had trails of bodies.
Yes.
But it was we all had a great time. It was a lot of fun for everybody, and I think everybody's just kind of realizing that we're getting really close to actually doing a raid, because there's a couple people that were just missing last night. One of our regulars was had a cold and was kind of out, so she was up to running with us. But if we'd had the 2 that were coming back and her, we would have had a full raid last night. So it feels like we're getting all the ingredients, which I'm really excited about. That is the blast with ploy, and it's fun too. It's because we're always very hard on ourselves, Ploy is, but we're really good in the clutch, especially when everything hits the fan. And my favorite thing is when people are like, "Oh, it's over. It's all over," because the ploy-minded go, "No, nothing's over. Nothing's over until I'm dead." Oh, okay, now it's over. I'm dead. But what was hysterical, I'm sure Cinders will mention this one. There's a tactic that Krister had perfected many, many, many years ago, running school and library over and 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 over again, where you're kiting the mobs in the that has to be the library, right? Because you're burning all the books. So while everybody's in that one room burning all the books, the tank is running all the mobs around outside. So you learn how to run in a circle, and it has endeavored to work as a great tactic throughout my raiding life. But to hear Cinder's reaction to seeing it in action was pretty hysterical. But yeah, it was an effective tactic too. I'd like to point out. You just start running in that circle round and round. And then you go round and 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 round. Yeah. And you just keep repeating that.
Actually, when I think about someone running in circles in the school or the library, I usually think of the birds
both of them. Yeah, you're right. Both of them.
School.
Yeah, but you were also in the other one. You were running the everybody around the big hall while the books were being burned inside. You basically pull everybody out of that room.
Yeah, I suppose you could try that. I never attempted to do that particular version.
That's where I learned it. That's where I learned the run in the circle tactic. Although that was a gigantic square, but you try different shapes. So I did.
Yeah.
I think I've done a circle, a square, a triangle, and a isosceles triangle.
He was in there measuring all the angles as he was doing it.
Doing a hexagon next time. Yeah.
Yes. Then we'll go to parallelograms.
And of course, in my endeavor to fully inhabit my commitment to being the guru of Middle Earth,
yeah,
I have my new propositions for Standing Stone, and that is to introduce vein goo, specific goo, regulated goo, perforated goo, reluctant goo, tantalizing goo, burly goo, sandy goo, turbulent goo, and of course, orbital goo.
No pint-scented goo?
What was that?
No pint-scented goo?
Now that's your submission, Pine.
Oh, okay.
Over and over again. You're not gonna coast on my coattails on this. You endeavor to create your own goos.
You guys.
So ESO, I had I passed 1,600 champion points, so that was pretty exciting. My orc is just a lot of fun to play. He's kind of a tank. He's kind of a tanking champion, I probably would say is the best way to put it. He's a engager of large numbers of people, and the more people he has around him, the safer he is. So he's just been a lot of fun. And then this last week, been playing Rogue Trader a lot, and my friends finally convinced me to throw my money into the pit that is Star Citizen, and I'm going to check that out as well. So had a pretty vital, exciting 2024 start to my gaming. Cinders, what were you up to?
So I was up to starting, I don't know how to pronounce it. My sister calls it Palia. So that's what I'm calling it as well. She had been playing it with Gorindus on their Switches. And so I got it for my Switch Lite and was playing it with them. Well, not with them, but like so that I could play with them. And I think I'm really going to like it. So it's very much along the lines of like Stardew Valley and things like that, except that nothing tries to kill you, which I am all for. She says nothing tries to kill you. So, I did start it, but I need to spend some more time with it. I do think I'm really going to like it though. I did Angmar Reborn with Pine Leaf, and then we did some deeds in Gundabad. and I am ready to go find the first jewel. And I don't know that I have ever seen Pineleaf that close to a rage quit ever in all the years I've known him. But we
Wait, is it
discovered
you or the quest?
the quests. So the deed for Madagard is like you have the exact number of quests that you need for the deed. And so
Yeah.
I clicked over as completing and he didn't. And he's like, okay, what is it? So we started going through. And what we discovered is that the Hall of Vernazal quest was not counting under Madagard for him. It was counting under like the general Gundabad. And so he could not complete that deed. And as far as we could tell, like we went to all the places to see if we'd missed pop-ups or whatever. We could not find any other quests. And so he was very frustrated. So yeah, that happened. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to convince him to go back through Madagard with one of his other characters. But we'll see. I haven't tried it yet. But he's getting ready to bring his Runekeeper back in to finish out Gundabad with Emeralina.
Well, if we finish everything else, I will first check that Mark. We'll first do the Hall of Vernazal quest first.
Yes. So Pineleaf has been very graciously being completionist along with me because I want the virtue points for Emeralina to work on her virtues to help get her morale and stuff up to be raid ready. And so he kind of has gotten drugged through that repeatedly. And then, as Krista was mentioning, did do Guathranost with Ploy instead of going to Friday night fights last night. I had a blast. So, yeah, I laughed so hard. I was almost in tears last night. It was great. So we had gone into, must have been after the second boss, and we'd gone into this like area, and it had rooms off on the sides and people walking in and out. And we had all just gotten done wiping, because we had ended up pulling not just that room, but like 3 additional rooms. And then as you were kiting, people were picking up, like whoever was kiting, it wasn't just Krister at that point, but whoever was kiting was pulling from these different rooms as well. So like as we were going around, and so then we wiped, and then we went and we were like, well, we'll just take it one room at a time. And so we had followed Maven into one of the rooms, and we'd cleared that room, and everything was good. And we came back out, and we're like, oh, there's these characters walking back and forth, these NPCs walking back and forth. And okay, so that's what's pulling from these other side rooms. But then you have like 4 additional rooms. And I was like, okay, so let's just take it room at a time, like one room at a time. So I went into a room, as we were all leaving that and talking about songs, and Krister's singing, about spinning around in circles, right? And then I went into the room. I died and I got rezzed. And as I came out of this room to take over the tanking role, I see Krister running, and he's just kiting in circles. And every time he goes, he's picking up more mobs, and he's just going round and round and round in circles. And so I start trying to pull him off, right? I'm trying, I'm shouting, and nothing, and just round and round and round. And finally I managed to pull a group off, and it looked like they had just given up. Like, you know how the mobs just like give up, and then run back? Like, that's what it looked like they were doing to everybody else. And I was like, no, I just pulled them. But oh, it was so funny. I laughed and laughed and laughed, because there was Krister going round and round the room, and this big pack of mobs just right behind him all the way around. It was great. And we did get all the way to the final boss, the Shard, and we got it to the point that it called for backup with the rezzing the third boss, and oh, then we
were right there. We were right there.
And we wiped, and we were done for the night because it was late for the people on the East Coast.
However, it wasn't a bad exit either. Sometimes it's very frustrating into the night.
Yeah.
But I think everybody just genuinely had a good time. So
Yeah, and I mean, and that was only our second shot at that boss. Like the first shot, it didn't go well, so we Googled, and there just isn't a lot of information about that fourth boss. What we found was actually for tier 3, even though we were doing it tier 1, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, you have to switch tanks, and that was really nice. Like, once we started doing that, and I'd be like, oh, Krister, I'm tier 2, and he'd be like, okay, and he'd take him, and then I'd get healed up and everything, and then I'd take him back, and it was really nice to be able to do that. And I felt so much healthier until I died, right? you know. But
Yes,
was
that boss. I still haven't figured out what that boss does in order to it one shotted me. I think at least twice during that.
It did.
It just sneezes in my direction and go whoop.
Yeah, and so I just the folks from Play were gonna do some looking to see if they could find out more about how to deal with that last boss, because that's the only thing that kept us from completing that raid last night.
Well, I think everybody's kind of interested in trying to complete it now too, because that was without us understanding tactics. So
yeah,
we are a reasonably good.
Close.
Yeah, and we're a reasonably good crew about being able to get the tactics down. So I have a feeling we can get that. Probably could get it next time.
Oh, I hope so.
The other big one would be we have 3 more people too. If we have a full raid.
Oh yeah.
That might make the difference as well.
Yeah.
Because you just think about that last night. If we'd had 3 more people, I bet you we could have got through that. Because the main thing was, I think, when we had when the boss summoned the other bosses, the main problem was we didn't pull those 2 apart that needed to be pulled apart to have their damage shield drop.
Oh yeah.
And that was just because it was so confusing and crazy at that moment. Lights, bells, and whistles, and all kinds of crap going off.
Oh yeah. But definitely, I would say if you do decide to take that and try it, like, you should have the 2 tanks. Captain was great because of the reses, as well as being able to tank. And then we had a mini with reses, and we had a bear with reses. And so, like, if we had not had all 3 of them able to res people, we would have been toast well before that point. Because there were several times where they were just trading off who was resing who.
Yeah, that is saved several raids as well. Where you get down to 3 people, but somehow you manage to res everybody back up. That's why it was so painful to lose that captain res in all the changes in Yellow Line. Because I used to be able to fully trade it, and so I could bring 2 people up at full morale, which could mean the difference between a raid working and failing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But now, Cinders, what you saw was what Krister really, truly, originally was. Is I don't have any problems being the main tank, but where I knew my place was I was an off tank for a guardian, and so you saw all the benefits of a captain being your friend last night, right? So.
Yes. I say, even though I don't know as much about captains as I would like, they do have a special place in my little guardian heart. How's that?
We're kind of a big deal.
Kind of. Especially when you're, twice as tall as I am.
Well, and then on that war steed, I'm about 5 times taller than you.
Yes.
When you're on your war steed.
Yep. Actually, no. No. Yes. On my war steed, yes. But that new... Okay, so I got the homestead coffer, and when I am mounted on the draft horse, I am almost the same height as, like, the men and elves on their horses.
And you have, like, a booster saddle, or?
Nope. I was just noticing that last night when we were doing the protos as a group, that when I was sitting up on the draft horse, I was right at the same height as all of the horses that weren't war steeds.
See, that kind of works against a theory I have, which is if hobbits rode war steeds like Runt's little piggy rides, then I could put 3 hobbits underneath my war steed, and then I could have the halter that comes down on either side, so nobody could see him. And then I could, it could be like a Trojan a Trojan horse, where I'm trampling. I go to trample somebody, and suddenly they're getting stabbed on the sides, as the hobbits going out the side of from the sides of my horse,
Yeah.
like a hobbit carrier, like because.
Yeah, I could see it. That would be great. So, and that was my weekend gaming. I had lots of fun. I don't know that it's going to be that involved going forward, but it was a great way to start the new year. Pine Leaf, how about you?
All right, I'll begin with my warden who went into the Green Hills to start searching for goblins. I found some in a cave as well as a bashed up backpack. We'll have to see where that story leads later on. Then my low-level lore master started the task of collecting rangers. And my minstrel spent most of the time studying old ruins and reading, trying to satisfy some guild or something. And that's it for my week in LOTRO. We actually have 2 emails this week. So the first one is from Thescolin, and Krister, what does Thescolin say?
Thescolin says, it's that time of the year again, huzzah! Do you have any New Year's resolutions in LOTRO, or any other games that you play? I have several that I would like to follow, like sticking with one game for an extended period of time, or finding a good group of folks to play with and really participate. But I know me and my history, and won't set myself up for failure. For LOTRO, I'm going to get myself to cap and challenge myself to heal group content and not let things get to me when I fail miserably. Exactly. That is a great that's a great ideology. That's our guild's ideology. Is we know we're going to fail a lot of times before we get there. So why not just set the expectation of failure? And to finish off, Thescolin says, keep up the great work. And he is a dwarf minstrel on Arkenstone. So did you guys make any in-game? I mean, Krister pretty much, he trampled a bunch of stuff recently. So I think he pretty much fulfilled his resolution right off the bat. So now what am I gonna do for the rest of the year?
I don't know.
Just keep trampling things. I don't know that I made any New Year's resolutions, but I do want to. I think mine would probably be to finish getting Emerlina really raid ready, because I did have a lot of fun doing that with Ploy, and it's something that I would like to be able to do. Especially because it's on Friday nights, and after a week of school and teaching, it's kind of nice to go in and hang out with grown-ups and then pummel imaginary critters. So I don't drink, but I'll game instead. So I think that would probably be the closest to a New Year's resolution that I have, is just trying to really stick with it. And because sometimes I go through phases where I play, and then I don't play for a really long time. But I do really want to be able to get back, and kind of like Thescolin was saying, getting a group of people to play with and really participating. I think that's a great one, and I like that.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I always felt like it was 2 different games. It was playing LOTRO to level cap, and then raiding was a whole different parallel thing to do. And so I agree with both of you. The funnest part is working with a group to accomplish something maybe that's a little bit complex, and then failing miserably when you begin, but then slowly everybody learns their part, everybody learns their place, everybody learns their timing, and things get better and better and better as you go on. Unfortunately, we never get to the completion part of it where we complete it, because by the time we actually got to the point where we're competent in it, something new came out, and now we're doing that. So
right, we'll get this. We will get this settled old conquer just in time for the new raid to come out.
Yeah.
I guarantee we'll be back, Dragok.
Actually, you might want to stick with that because that's on the Cinders hasn't done it list, is to go do Dragok on level. Um, but no, I really like looking at that, and I don't know. I like both aspects. The rating and the mental challenge of figuring out the mechanics it's fantastic, and it's nice to do that with a group because then it's not just you who can't figure it out, right? You don't end up feeling like an idiot because you don't understand. There's always people there to help and explain, which is one of the reasons why I always do skirmishes with Pine Leaf and not by myself, because then I don't have to figure it out. He can tell me what I need to know. Same thing with Sans. Like, okay, what are we doing? And she can walk me through it. Like, if I don't do it by myself, because then it's like beating your head against the wall. But also, like, I also just enjoy like being in chat with people. And being able to hear other people's voices. But even if we're just kind of doing our own thing on landscape or crafting, like, for me, that's also really beneficial because it's a little bit of a different pace, and I really enjoy crafting both in real life and online. And so for me to be the challenge of collecting all the different items in the right quantities is just as fulfilling as doing raids. So I like both aspects. I just haven't really done a lot of group content because I tended to just do whatever Sans was doing. And so being able to meet new people and make new friends independently is kind of fun too. So Pine Leaf, New Year's resolutions.
Well, let's see. Well, no resolutions per se, though I would say I do have a couple of goals that I want to see if I can get a character of each class up to level cap by the end of the year. The level cap being 150. If they go and sneak us a level 160 level cap in December, I'm not going to be reaching 160 by December. I can tell you that. So let's see how many characters I can get up there. To see if I get all 12 classes up there. That's going to be what I'm going to be trying to do. And also getting my minstrel up to Skirmisher of Middle Earth. So those are the two things I'll be working on for this year in LOTRO. So now let's go and check the other letter we've got from Rat Stew and Cinders. What does Rat Stew say?
Hello, podcasters! I enjoy your show, and I'm really hoping you can help me out. I've tried out the new crafting system, and I have so many questions. Once you get all your guild rep, you get a daily from your Umbari crafting guild trainer to get nice crafting mats, including recipes. You can then send these recipes to your alts. But isn't there some other thing you need to do to make the Umbari craft dudes happier with you so you can upgrade your armor? My scholar isn't seeing any such thing. Also, where the heck do you find goat meat? Many cooks want to know. And are you getting many hides? Questing to 150 only got me about 8 hides. Happy crafting, Rat Stew.
Right, and I think you could answer about how to get hides.
I can actually answer a lot of this. So,
Okay.
I took Emerlina because her jeweler was ready for the guild stuff. And so I took her to the Umbari crafting guilds. And so you do get the daily crafting quest for the recipes and stuff. But as you complete each of those, it makes the Umbari craft dudes happier with you, which then allows you to upgrade your armor. So just today, she went from being a guild initiate to an apprentice, which is that next level up of them being happier with you so that you can get more of the things that you need to upgrade the armor. And so I am in the process of collecting the items. I need a couple more sockets, but those are things that drop from the different dailies as you do them. And also you can get some of them by doing, like, some of the crafting materials that you need, you can get by doing the missions. I think is it the 15 or the 45 pine leaf, or do they both give you some that have like crafting boxes?
Crafting. I know
Yeah,
the
like the
15 gives
protos.
you. I know that the I know that the 15 gives you one. I'm pretty sure the 45 also does.
Yeah, and then the protos give you crafting boxes. So those are easy ways to get mats. Well, not easy, but they are convenient ways to get mats if you don't want to go all over the landscape. So those would be the things that you can do. So just continue doing that daily. It pops the rep for you. You don't have clickies like you do otherwise, but you do gain rep every time you do that and turn them in. Then Pineleaf and I went on an adventure to find the goat shanks and hides. So we are going to add to the show notes today this handy dandy little graph that I made. So we went around and we killed at least one of all of the different mobs, essentially, that are over level 1, because, you know, those turtles and little dune snakes, they just don't give you anything, to discover what you can get off of each one. So, specifically, if you want, say, Umbari hides, you're going to want to kill goats and rams and boar, desert cows, savanna primates, crocodiles will give you those. They also have a chance of dropping crocodile tails. We didn't get any today, but we do know that they can drop crocodile tails. The Zamerzir Sabertooth cats will drop hides. And I think that was all that we had that dropped hides. And then if you need crab legs, hunter crabs, scuttling crabs, coast scuttlers, those all drop them on landscape. And let's see, the other one was goat shanks. They are seemingly rare drop. We only got them off of one of the goats that we killed, but you gotta kill those goats. So between Jack's Finale, and is it Ratatap or whatever that next town is, there is a ton of goats. And if you kill those goats, you greatly increase your chances of getting goat shanks as well as hide. So, highly recommend kill all the goats. And while you're at it, you can get some fun drops off the other critters. So, our recommendation is kill all the things. I hope that answers your questions. I mean, we even got jade gemstones off the Haradrim dervishes. So, like, you never know really what you're gonna get. We also found, there were more. I was doing this in the car today, so I missed one. Drakes will also give you Umbari hides.
Yeah, even the Drakelings did.
Yep. The big ones, the little one, the whelpings, give them to you. Spiders do not. Spiders and insects, they just give you filth and goo.
Yeah.
Krister's favorite.
Just filth and goo. Come on.
Filth and goo.
Those are two very important commodities in Middle Earth now.
Yes.
They drive industry.
They do. So if you have filth and goo and you don't want them, you can send them to Krister. Capital C, lowercase R-I-S-T-E-R in Landerval. And he will happily delete
that email.
He will happily either turn it in for tasks if they're task items or turn them in for coins, which you could also do if they're just taking up bag space.
Actually, now I'm thinking about it. Could I edit it out so I don't actually pick up goo anymore? I think maybe I could.
Yeah, you can filter it.
I can filter goo.
I'm pretty sure you can filter goo.
Well, you had to filter each individual type of goo.
Oh, see, that's where they get you. They're always SSG is always one step ahead. Okay. So that I almost felt like I saw the sun for the first time. Wait, can Krister live in a goo-free Lotro?
Yes, but you'd have to work for it. Anyhow, so
but then no longer be.
He would no longer be a guru.
Right.
Krister, are you sure you want to give up that guru title?
Well, I just recently claimed it, so I guess I could. It's not like I've lived long with it.
So, Yeah.
And the pay is really bad.
But yeah, so that was what we discovered. We will link this as a graph or a chart or something to the show notes.
So the goat meat is just basically going to be the most irritating ingredient out of all of them to try to find. What you're
Possibly.
ultimately saying, right?
Yeah. Well, I believe that the goat shanks is intended to be a rare drop because I think it's for one. It's for a guild recipe, is it? Or
I think it's a guild recipe.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a guild recipe. So those I think are intended to be hard to make.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that'd be awesome if there was like a mythos around that too. Oh, listen to me now, son. Back in 42, 300 years ago, your father's grandfather's grandfather once saw a goat with shanks. We don't see their like in this region anymore. The goats are shankless. Does that mean that the goats don't have shanks? Or is it just that LOTRO technology cannot de-shank a goat properly?
I think what it is that when you're butchering it, it's your fault that you can't figure out what the shank is to cut it off. That's what I think, because it's the butcher who's the problem, right? The butcher. It's not the poor goat's fault. They've got their shanks. It's you, man. All you.
Well, it is the other possibility is that you're burning and making the shanks useless for human consumption during your course of killing the goat.
That is a possibility too, although I don't know that Krister has fire skills.
Oh, Krister can burn things down.
Okay, I want to see this.
No,
this
he
is
takes
one
a
of those,
halberd.
I don't believe it until I see it.
Right.
So,
if you would like to instigate a science experiment by the local LOTRO Players team, you can send your proposal to podcast@lotrplayers.com. The Players Alliance has 2 shows on Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News, and we record DDO Players News when DRAC is available. You could listen to our shows at lotrplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. And this is Pilot Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.